Live. How exciting is this, he says.
Very.
Well, we're sorry to disturb you all for watching EastEnders and the football this evening, but we're very lucky to have Amy and Helena here discussing Amy's new book, Training to Trainee.
It's what I read earlier.
Lovely. And it's, there's lots of places to start. I suppose I'd start actually, not on what the question I was going to ask you,
Okay.
but what made you write this book? And now, because, you know, you're a makeup artist and this is all in the past, being a trainee.
Yeah. I started it 4 years ago, so it's been a time for the last 4 years.
Slow writer?
It's very slow writer. No, I've been so busy, so it's been in between jobs, but it was based off of a few things. It was a designer actually said to me one day, like, you're such a good trainee and I'd love to just download all your knowledge and give it to the new trainee who was green at that point. She'd not been on set. And then I kind of thought, So then sat down to write it, started writing it, and then I've just been so busy. So it's been in between jobs and different bits and bobs. So yeah, and I remember being a trainee, just so anxious on set. I'm an anxious person, so just being there and thinking, I don't know what's going on. So it was to help trainees really to not feel the way I felt.
And how did your friend here get involved?
Oh gosh, I paid her a lot of money.
Yeah.
No, Helena is a fantastic artist. She does painting. Definitely check out her artwork, everyone. But when I was looking to do the illustrations and stuff, I did some document examples, and I was kind of saying to Helen, like, I'd love to put illustrations in there, but I can't draw. So she was like, I'll do them. So then, she ended up on board. She did them.
I did.
And here we are.
Amy, where did you train, and what was it that, when you woke up one day and said, I want to be a makeup artist, and then I'm going to go thousands and thousands of miles away to train?
I don't know. I went to LA. I always wanted to be a makeup artist, but my family, coming from a Caribbean background, were like, do something more academic. So I went and got a real job for 6 years in an office doing marketing, and then basically thought life's too short. Got a job in a pub like in the evening, so I did both. Saved up, went over there, and it was because I'd been to LA before and I just loved LA. So at the time I wanted to live out there, so it made sense in my head to go to school out there.
Were they horrified, your parents? The fact that they didn't want you to become a makeup artist and then to go to America.
Well, yeah, my mum's actually like my biggest fan now, so she gave me half the money to go as well. So she was really great about it, and they've both been really great about it. But but obviously out there, hair and makeup are two different departments. So in hindsight, was it the wisest move? Probably not, but here we are.
I suppose it was something that drew you to go there, and then experience and stuff as well. Helena, what made you choose the best makeup academy in the world?
So I went to art college before I came here, and to be honest, I don't think I registered that there were schools that taught hair and makeup specifically for TV and film, but a friend of a friend at art school had been here, so that's how I even heard that they existed. And then I looked around a few schools at the time, and then I think what kind of mostly drew me to CBMA was the fact that you got on-set experience, so you were guaranteed to go onto set, and that was so helpful at the time, and I think that's probably one of the most valuable things. And also I really liked the vibe of the place.
Well, I think it's that sort of in going towards the book, with Christine and I, when we sort of set the school up, and it was that, it's all about how to help, the student or the graduate after. The during, they'll love the course, but afterwards, and so getting that work experience, getting to understand things and knowledge and stuff is really helpful, and obviously now with the book and stuff, it's even more so. So next question is that you sort of touched on it about qualifications. Do you think qualifications are important to get into the industry?
In terms of uni, I don't think a degree is important. I think you get more experience on set, more valuable experience on set, and I think just kind of courses like this is all you need to be in the industry. NVQs are quite handy when it's in barbering because you'll need to cut hair. Other than that, I don't think you need a degree.
No, I would say that. I mean, I obviously did get a degree, but I mean, at the time, I didn't know that I definitely wanted to do makeup. So, I think if I had known that, I would have just come straight and trained. But yeah, I definitely don't think it's like necessary. I mean, at 18, I mean, surprisingly, a lot of people are very certain this is what they want to do from quite an early age. So, I mean, also uni's so expensive now, and I think that it's definitely, even though it's a shorter course, it's definitely, I would say, just as valuable as getting a degree.
I still find, or I'm still kind of shocked or surprised. I mean, when I was at school back in the Victorian times, and you know, the careers advice, it was terrible. It was useless.
Yeah.
But it's even now, you know, when my children come back and they've had, you know, the careers advice, and it's, you know, it's still lame, and it's still, you know, I mean, Helena, you're essentially young, and you know, 10, 11 years ago, you didn't even know, you know, either of you, that you could have a career as a hair and makeup artist or a makeup artist, you know, and I dare say even today, no one says, oh, have you thought about, or you're creative, or your art, you're into arts and stuff. Yeah. Have you thought of being a makeup artist in film and television or theatre?
Even some makeup colleges or just generic colleges that offer makeup courses, I think people don't even realise this is an avenue you can go down.
No, it's actually, I never realised how few people know about it. Yeah, know about it.
Yeah, and you know, and here we are. It's essentially still the same. We have people coming in saying, "I had no idea."
Yeah.
We have, you know, as Amy and your parents and stuff, who are, you know, go and get a proper job. You can't.
Yeah, that's quite common.
You know, an accountant, lawyer, etc. But one was the young lady. She was actually a pharmacist, who then changed to become a makeup artist. But I said, oh, was it the classic, you know, your parents? She's going, no, actually my parents were telling me to go, because I really was into hair and makeup, to do, you know, to become a hair and makeup. But I was like, no, I need to do a sensible job. Yeah. So she didn't listen to her parents. It was the complete opposite.
Oh, wow.
Which is very, very rare, I can assure you.
That is definitely rare.
It's pretty soul destroying as someone who spent 6 years in an office to go to work every day and do the 9 to 5. So this is so different.
But also on that note, there's, you know, again, today, in this day and age, everyone's going to have 2 or 3 careers. You know, there is no, you know, one job for all your life. It is 2 or 3.
That's really common, yeah.
It is, and we're getting more and more mature students, you know, 30, 40 and older, saying, do you know what, I always wanted to do this, or even, you know, never thought about it, but, you know, I'm bored, I want something different, and why not? You know, it's kind of one life. You should do these things.
I do meet quite a lot of trainees that are in their sort of, you know, late 20s onwards these days, like quite a lot. Even when I was training, like a few of my friends that were on the course as well were a good 8 years older than me. So I've only ever really done this, but I kind of, you know, I think that you're right, people have multiple careers now.
I even worked with a trainee who was in her 50s, and I was really surprised. And when I got talking to her, she said, well, you know, they started a business, her and her husband, and then they had the kids and they did that, and she kind of had a life, and then she thought, this is what I've always wanted to do. So she then decided to come into and train and start as a trainee at 50 odd. I can't remember how exactly old she was, but...
No, but I don't think, you know, again, it's, you know, I'd like to think it doesn't matter, you know, you're as young as you feel, or all those things, but, you know, it's, you know, if you want to do it, you know, go and give it a try.
Definitely.
It actually leads nicely to the next question. What other attributes would you say are important to becoming a makeup trainee? So you've been to college, academy, wherever you've been, and you're very good at hair, you're very good at makeup, you're very creative. What else do we need here?
Well, when I was a trainee, it's obviously great to have hair and makeup skills as a given, but also I was always told it's 50% skill, but it's also 50% personality. So for me, I think personality is super important when it comes to being in this industry. Like as an attribute, you've got to have a good personality, a can-do attitude, helpful, because as well, you're with these people for 12 plus hours a day. So you want to be around nice people. So it doesn't matter if you can do, as a trainee, the best pleat in the world. If you're a nightmare to be around, you want, you know, a good personality, good attitude, helpful team player.
I think probably also one of the most important things, I think, is realising that even though you've trained and you have all these skills, that you've still got so much to learn. And I think having an attitude, I mean, even like, I've been doing this for like 9-10 years now, and I still am like, that's what's interesting about the job, is that you've always got stuff to learn. So going on set and asking people, oh, how did you do that? And I think a lot of people can go in sort of thinking, oh, I've got to act like I know how to do everything, which you're never going to be expected to be able to do that as a trainee. Like, you're a trainee, and you're only
there to train.
Yeah, and you're only realistically a trainee for what, like 2-3 years usually. So you've used that time to learn, and to use it as an excuse to really learn things, I think. So that sort of willingness to learn, and also I think also maybe an aspect of being relatively like spontaneous, able to adapt, because sometimes you will literally get asked to do a job the day before and you'll be like, okay, I'm going to do this, and it can be like that sometimes, and I think sometimes that can be a bit like, whoa, when you first start, but it's kind of just how it works.
But I think, I always say again to my girls, my graduates, you know, like there's going to be so many moments where, you know, panic sets in, where, you know, you're about to do something, they say, oh, actually, no, change your plan, go off and do X, Y, and Z, and, you know, you can't crumple. You've got to, inside you are screaming, but outside, you know, smile, okay, you know,
have to,
and but ask, you know, again, I'm sure you know, asking questions. I'm really sorry, I don't know how to do that, or I don't know what that is. Could you explain that?
Yeah, because everyone's going to be willing to explain to you, because of course you've just trained.
And it's worse to say, oh, I know how to do that, and
So
then
much worse.
not be able to do it, because then you look untrustworthy. It doesn't look good.
And that has happened on jobs before with trainees, and and it kind of causes chaos.
And I'm sure, you know, you've asked questions, and you know, and maybe you're embarrassed to ask questions, but I'd like to think that people will answer and you know, show you and say, no worries, you know, this is what you do.
I'm still asking questions,
I was
even
gonna say,
like nearly 7 years later, because I think it's like you said about continuing to learn. You never stop learning, and there's always different ways of doing stuff, and sometimes
Everyone has a different way of doing things.
and sometimes a trainee will come out of makeup school, and like, because obviously they're fresh from being taught, they might be taught something at school they might be teaching us stuff, because when we went to school like years ago, then the way we learned was different to now. I also think a controversial attribute is being able to drive, because a lot oftentimes, going back to the flexible thing, you might be asked to just like go out and run an errand or get something in an emergency, and if you can't drive, it's like a nightmare for the rest of the team, and also getting to and from set, because the hours we keep, like if you've got to get to set at 3 a.m, how are you going to get there if public transport hasn't started, or if it's a night shoot and you need to get home and it's 6 a.m and you can't. It puts a lot of pressure as well, I think, on the rest of the team, because then everyone's expected to drive you around. I know that's a bit controversial. You can do it.
I mean, we have but you can't. I mean, I know we got, you know, Steph, you know, she's a makeup designer now, and Sim, have a lot who don't drive, you know, but you know, you make it work. You go, okay, then so I've got to be there at 5 o'clock in the morning. I'll go the night before. I'll get a B&B locally, you know, so everything, again, it's all possible. You know, I mean, you know, I'd add in, you know, planning, organising are good attributes. I mean, learning, I mean, you know, when we do the boot camp, so the last week of the course, it's a boot camp, so it's like a sort of test that Christine, you know, gets to do 8 looks of you know, various periods, ages, etc. But she'll come in and then she'll go, oh my God, how did you do that? That's amazing. You know, so even a big makeup designer learns, you know, and Christy will be the first one to say, you know, you're learning every day, and I think it's almost naive or silly of you to pretend otherwise.
But also that's what makes it interesting, is that you're always learning new skills.
I think if you're not learning, you should find a new career, because you should always be learning. Always,
true.
like, if you've mastered everything, then...
It's a very good point, actually, yes. And that's what that exactly makes, you know, each new project, each new period, each new look,
Yeah.
each new everything. Again, blending into the next, in the list in the book, at the beginning of the book, all the potential jobs a trainee has to do.
Yeah.
And I must admit, when I,
It is a long, long
looked,
list.
I looked at it, it was just like, oh my God. And, you know, it you know, potentially could be daunting. But again, I mean, this is a great list. Are you given anything like this when, you know, so it's kind of...
I think when you first start a job and you're in prep, the designer might say, these are the kind of things I want you to know and do. But a lot of the time it's kind of suck it and see how it goes on the job, because each job will vary. But by the same token, I don't think you're not like sat down, and a lot of the time people are so busy to sit down and
like
hold your hand. So it's a bit like, oh. So the list does look scary. I know it's like 3 or 4 pages, and you won't be expected to do every single thing on that list. But you know, I think it's a good overview of the kinds of things you may be expected to do, and gives people a good guide on what kind of things you'll need to do.
No, I think it's a great list, and it's all, and it is all, and it literally is all relevant.
Yes.
Do you remember, both of you? Do you remember your first, like that first day?
Yeah.
Burned, etched into my memory. That's why this book's here.
I do.
That's probably quite. All right, Helena, what could you tell us about that first day?
My first day ever on set, it was Wonder Woman. So Chris, the first one, designed, and we were helping in crowd, and I think there was 3 of the trainees there, and including 2 that were on. No, not including 2 that were on as part of the permanent team. And I just remember it feeling like the longest day because it was like a 16-hour day or something like that, and.
Was it a big crowd day?
It was enormous.
Oh, okay.
Crowd day. Like, I've never done a crowd day that big since.
Wow. Oh my God, first day.
Yeah, it was like a real baptism of fire that day. But like, you know what? I feel like I learned a lot that day, and it was. I mean, it can be really intimidating when you don't. Anything can when you don't know what is coming. But I would say that also, I will say that first day on set, I think I was unable to do any more days on it because I actually met a makeup designer that I went on set with, and I ended up being a trainee for her. So, so it kind of.
Well, I mean, part of that, the guaranteed, paid on set experience is about obviously gaining experience, etc. But it's also about networking. So, apart from, good for you, Helena, in the sense of meeting someone, but huge, crowds. There's lots and lots of makeup artists there.
Yeah.
So you've got to also, apart from doing this huge list of all the jobs you've got to do and smiley face and be calm.
Yeah.
Is to network and like, hi, I'm Helena, hi, I'm Amy,
You do.
I just, but again, you have to, it's such an opportunity, not to miss.
It's a great opportunity.
Yeah.
With the big crowd days, especially as a trainee. So
Well, you never stop networking as well,
Yeah,
no
true.
matter what grade you're at, because you're always looking for the next person to work for or talking to people.
Would you say you both were good at networking, would you say natural networkers, or which is
At the time or now?
at the
Two different answers.
I would say, I mean, I was 22, I think, when I first started doing this. I think I was all right. I remember being a bit shy about it, I think, but I think once you just have to get over it and just do it. I definitely wouldn't say I was a natural networker.
But I suppose really what we're saying is to communicate. That's what networking is.
Yeah.
It's introducing yourself, saying hello, chatting,
Yes.
and not kind of like, here's my card in a
No.
Japanese business sense, and a badge. Actually, that could be a lot easier, wouldn't it, actually? So it's just, here's my card. What about your first day, Amy? Can you remember?
Mine wasn't as big as Wonder Woman, but it was like a lower budget thing. But yeah, I can remember one of the things. I remember getting to unit base and thinking, I don't know where I'm going, what I'm doing, what's happening. And then getting on the makeup truck and it being big and thinking, oh my God, it feels so overwhelming and so daunting. And then I was able to go to set actually, and I remember putting the radio in for the first time and thinking, because there's lingo that they use on set, and hearing stuff like 10-1 and this and that, thinking, what is going on?
Yeah.
What does that mean? But yeah, so it was very like anxiety inducing, I think. You just muddle through. And I think as well, in terms of networking, I don't know, I was good at like talking to people, introducing myself, but I think my thing was being helpful and being like present. So that helped me, I think, a lot in networking and getting contacts. Kind of being like, can I offer you a tea or coffee? Can I do this? Can I get lunch? Can I, you know? And I think people appreciate that.
Actually, I mean, for me, and it's even when people do it to me, you know, when you just met somebody and then someone says your name, and you know, oh, Peter, and you're like, oh, they remember my name, and little things like that, you know, remembering someone's name, as superficial and silly as, you know, tea and coffee, you know, Helena has, you know, strong tea, no sugar, Amy, you know, milk coffee. It's really simple, and I always say to my grad, you know, little notebook and pen, and if you don't, you know, just write things down.
I always had a notebook and pen.
Always.
Brilliant. I'm glad someone listens to me. But it's that thing of, you know, just it's the small detail, you know, and you may have, I mean, I'm being silly now, but you may have done a fantastic, you blocked her wig up, you set it amazingly, but you couldn't remember her name. You know, and you did, you know what I mean? And I'm not saying you're going to fall on that by any stretch of the imagination, but just that those little sparkly bits on top would just go, cool.
Yeah, it's just about making a good impression.
And also being proactive, like what you were saying about even the writing down teas and coffees and stuff. But if you know your designer, for example, gets a face cream out every day, you can see that, and then you can start doing stuff like that, little bits like that are helpful, and I think that goes a long, long way.
Did you? I know in the book you say about taking a picture of the station and things. Yeah. And again, you wouldn't have known. Did you get to know that after a few days, kind of thing, or after a few jobs? You quickly learned. Yeah,
and I think as well along the lines of networking, people give you little tips and tricks along the way. So people will say, oh, you know, if you take a picture of the station and then you can memorise it, like little things like that. So yeah, it's just picking up from people, really.
Again, it's so obvious, but it's not obvious. It's obvious, but it's not obvious. You know,
but you've got so much going on as a trainer, well, as anyone.
You've got to really keep like a calm exterior, but it's like a dark way. You see it going like that, and then the surface is calm.
No, that's exactly right. No, but it is, you know, looking calm, stay calm. And again, the notebook and pencil, writing things down. You don't look silly. In actual fact, people will go, oh, look, she's taking notes. You know, it's...
I mean, it's good to look,
Exactly, you know.
I think that's better than a phone as well, because if you've got your phone out, it just looks like you're texting or on social media, whereas if you're writing, it's...
That's a very good point, Amy, because, and you know, a couple of times I've had, you know, my graduates, you know, were like, you know, and then she had to go with the phone. It was the first time I picked the phone up. Doesn't matter.
No.
You just, you know, unless you're waiting for an important call, which you would then say to the crowd super, I'm really sorry, I'm expecting the call, fine.
Yeah.
Otherwise, keep it in your pocket till lunch.
Yeah, or unless they team go to set and then they need something, I'd say.
Yeah, so you need to be in the or whatever.
But don't take notes on it, even if you think it's...
But it does look, no, exactly, it looks like, you know, they don't know you're taking notes,
exactly.
You could just be like,
on Instagram, scrolling on CBMA's Instagram.
The agree to disagree. Can we talk more about this? And is it important also not to? Oh, okay, yeah. Agree to disagree and to not take things personally. If you are not someone's cup of tea.
Yeah. So I think I've struggled with this a lot over the years, but it's just about, so agree to disagree is about, you're not going to get on, even in life, with everyone. Like, it's just impossible, and everyone won't get on with you. So I think obviously there's such a huge range of personalities in this industry, and you're together for so many hours a day, it can cause clashes even in the best of friends. It's like, it's hard. So I think one of the things you need to come to terms with or peace with is that you won't like everyone won't like you. You just have to be civil, do a good job, get on with it, have a smile on your face, be proactive, and do a good job. So yeah, I think it is hard to feel not liked I don't know how you feel, but
Yeah.
I especially feel like.
Oh no, especially when I first started, I was so sensitive. I mean, I'm quite a sensitive person naturally, but you have to develop quite a thick skin quite
Yeah.
quickly, and you definitely do, which is the good news that you do. But yeah, like you said, it's like there's always going to be clashes. But also, what I will say is that if there is a clash, it's always best to kind of diffuse things, because also most of this industry is word of mouth. And if someone is like, oh yeah, well they were difficult, or you really don't want to be getting any sort of reputation for anything.
But I think it's also, you know, that as you said, you mentioned, you know, it's 12, 14, 15 hour days,
yeah.
5, 6, 7 days a week,
And
you know,
everyone's tired.
night
Snappy.
time, night shift,
Yeah.
exactly.
So of course people are going to at times be not their sort of best selves because of, you know, if you've got broken turnarounds, you've not slept, you know, it's difficult sometimes. But yeah, I think, yeah, like you said.
I think it's weird, but it's good to put, you know, again, it's a great thing to put in the book to again, you know, to teach the trainee that, you know, this will happen, and you know, people will dislike you or momentarily or whatever, and you cannot be everyone's favourite, otherwise, you know, it's impossible, it's ridiculous.
Like even like a team might think you're the best things in sliced bread, and then another team, it's just also people, you know, gelling together, because it's nothing, sometimes it's just nothing personal, it's just that you don't work.
Clash.
But that's a good point you just made there, Helena. I mean, you know, let's say you've just done a 2-month, 3-month film with a team. It was amazing, and it was flowing, and then all of a sudden there's a new project with a new team. I mean, you've got to adjust, but do you know, are you quickly aware that, like, oh, okay, right, this is different, I've got to adjust quickly?
I think it's ingrained in some people, to be honest. Some people pick it up quicker than others, I think.
It's very like
better at it.
It's very like first day at school vibes. If you're doing a job, especially if you don't have, I mean, I'm quite lucky that most of the jobs that I do, I have at least one friend usually on the team. And
if you say so.
Also, I thought. So then I feel like you kind of feel a bit more like, oh well, at least they're there. But sometimes you will literally be going in and not know anybody. Sometimes, and but you learn how to adapt to that, I think. And like I said, it's like the first day at a new school. Quite a lot of the time.
As well, off the back of that, like, so I've mentioned this in the book as well, that it's about finding your tribe and finding the people you gel with. And I kind of referenced Goldilocks and the Three Bears, because it's like trying different porridges until you find the right one, you know. Because like Helena said, not everyone's going to gel, so it's about finding the people that you get on with and work well with, and they're the people that are going to get you through. And it's kind of about building a community, I guess, and we're trying to do that on Instagram. And I know like the SIFT is doing a lot of stuff for trainees with information and trying to build communities so it doesn't feel so like daunting and scary and lonely. And then when you've got your tribe, so to speak, it helps get you through the times when you know it does, when you're not working with a nice team. Even if you've got one friend, you've got a comrade and you're together.
But it's also that, you know, in the book about, you know, like reading the room in one of the sort of quotes and stuff, which I always say, you know, and even years later, you know, it's your first day, as you said, nervousness, like, you know, first day back in September at school, and you don't know anyone, you know. So I think, you know, that pause, almost not go back as a trainee, but kind of revert back to go, okay, you know, read the room. This is good. Okay, do some, you know, jokey. It's more relaxed, or this is a more serious group. You know, so you got to adjust. I like to think.
You have to be a bit of a chameleon.
I think that's a key skill, actually, reading the room.
It is.
And not everyone can do it well, but I think that if you can read the room, that will help you massively in this industry. To know, like you were saying, some designers like music and a loud bus, and some designers like absolute silence. So read the room. It's important.
Yeah, I do find that there's certain things that, you know, it's not about the academy, but, you know, we can teach people lots and lots of skills, but how do you teach certain things like that? you know, how to read a room.
Yeah,
You know, the nuances of things. You can't. You know, it's really hard.
But it's almost like that 50% skill, 50% personality thing. So I think like a lot of the time that this job isn't for everyone. It's such a unique and niche and crazy job that it's not for everyone. And I think, you know, some people are better at reading the room and doing these things than others. It's hard. But you do as well learn it, like with experience. The more jobs you do, you kind of pick up.
I'd like to think so.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, next question. How important was understanding script breakdown and continuity, sync on set, etc.?
Classic sync on set. Super important as the trainee. A lot of the time you'll be doing the continuity because people will be on set, the makeup artist and the designer will be busy, supervisor will be busy. So it's important you understand continuity, the flow of the story, and how continuity works, because as well, if you mess it up, it could, you know, that could then
could be very bad.
Very bad, because the production could then have to spend lots of money doing reshoots, or even when the production goes to, when the film or TV series is out, then the continuity won't make sense if it's not in order. And also as the trainer, you're helping with stuff like putting stuff in the mothership or helping the makeup artists take stuff to set. So it's important you understand the script and the continuity so that you can put towels in the mothership, give the makeup artist blood, like do these bits and bobs, and that helps create a more proactive trainee. You know.
So I'm just thinking of one specific instance. So I did a horror film, I think it was probably 3 years ago, but I was doing the lead actor, and she was so she was in all the time, and the continuity was absolutely insane. It was loads of gore, so it was kind of, but really every day was just completely out of order with the story. And my friend Danielle Shepherd was our trainee at the time, and she was literally incredible.
I was going to say, I hope you're going to say something
no,
nice
she was
about.
No, she was amazing, and she'd been our trainee for a few jobs, but she sat with me on set, and if she knew something was coming up, she'd just hand me something and just be like, well, you've got to do this. And I also, because it's sometimes really hard, even if you have it in your head, if also stuff's been added and this and that, and you just turn and go, just even to reassure yourself, if you already know it, go, I am in right in thinking that it's this. And she'd be like, she'd have a little breakdown and she'd go, yeah, it's definitely that. And that honestly was an absolute lifesaver, and it just made the job so much easier for me. And it was a difficult job, but it was, she was amazing.
I mean, I'd like to think that, you know, this will make the job interesting. You know what I mean? So it's not just, you know, a trainee, you know, quite often, oh, you don't do anything, you just, you know, go and make teas and coffees. But, you know, continuity and script break. So understanding what's going on in the film and what we're doing today. And today's when they, you know, chop the body up
just
or whatever.
Also, it's reading the sides in the morning is really important. And I think because things get changed so much, they'll add stuff in. You know, on the day, so like this, you could be like, oh, it's different, and stuff on the schedule, stuff gets moved. So then, being able to sort of go, okay, because as a makeup artist, you know, if say, for example, if you are doing someone who is in every single scene, which I do quite a lot, you're sometimes quite overwhelmed because you've also got, you know, you're with the actor all day, so you're talking to them, you've got so much going on, and just having even someone who can just help you with that. And also even Dan used to like arrange my the artist back for me, because sometimes you'll be rushing, doing changes, doing this, doing that, and like, oh, do you have this for this change if you're doing a change on set? Does it become so intense when you're doing, you know, the main lead or one of the main, and then you forget about it's quite
the rest of the scenes and stuff. You don't know what's going on.
Your brain's doing like all the time, and you're wanting to focus on the actor and what you've got going on in that scene. So you might not have the foresight to think, oh, at the end of the day, I've got a decapitation.
And I've also had where I did a job where I was doing the lead, and she had, I think, 4 changes in one day, and you've got it, and they want you to do it really quickly, and you've got to make sure in the morning, and you can't go back to the truck. Sometimes you're, you know, quite far away from the truck. So someone who has the foresight to go, you're gonna. I mean, I hope that I would remember, but sometimes you just don't. And to go, oh, I need this, and you know, it's great if someone can go, oh, I will love you, or something
Yeah.
like that.
As the trainee, you're essentially like supporting everyone
Yeah.
from like, you know, the bottom. You're helping to keep everyone up and doing what they're meant to be doing, keeping
Yeah.
us in check, basically.
Diana is asking, what is the mastership? Or the
Mothership.
mothership.
So the mothership is like a big, imagine it's a big set bag, and you kind of take it to, the makeup artists will take it to set every day, but in there will contain kind of, it's communal, so it's for the whole team, and it will contain stuff like towels if you've got a water scene, or blood if there's a bloody scene, or dirt, or
Yeah.
I can't think what else would be in there, wet
I
wipes.
will say not every job has this.
No, not every job does have
So,
that.
but a lot of jobs do.
Yeah, a lot of designers like
Yeah.
that, just so then they
Like
know.
a trolley with loads of stuff.
Yeah, so they know you've got everything on set that you possibly need. Might be like tear stick or, you know, just everything you would need.
Supplies.
Yeah, just in case you haven't got it in your artist bag or your set bag or whatever. They know they've
But
got
there
it.
is there is that kind of not flexibility, but again that trainee, you know, is there, is, you know, ensuring that he's actually probably thinking of looking at, let's say there's 4 or 5 makeup artists on
Yeah.
set, thinking right, they're doing all these different actors. They're going to need blood. They're going to need this. They need
Yeah.
that. Tissues, wipes.
Yeah.
You
That's
know.
why continuity and script breakdowns is
Yeah,
important
yeah.
for the trainees.
So, and
Yeah.
again, by being that kind of just momentarily thinking about the job, the day,
yeah,
what's happening, it's going to make your day and job, hopefully, I think, really interesting.
yeah,
Yeah.
The time will fly.
The days are, I mean, it's a lot of hours, but a lot of days just go like that.
yeah, they fly.
When you've got a lot to do, for sure.
They're so varied as well, because you might be doing continuity and then you'll be doing this and that and helping with different bits, or helping a makeup artist paint their actor's nails if you've got to change, or doing stuff. You know,
Helping
it's always
pass pins.
yeah, past pins.
Yeah.
Why did you laugh?
I don't know.
Do you?
All right.
And then can you, as a trainee, if you can go back, you know, to go up to, you know, do you need any help? Can I help
Yeah.
you? Can I be of any assistance?
Asking, yeah.
Is that okay to ask?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's actually really important to ask, because when as well a makeup artist like rushing around and trying to do stuff, and you've got such a limited call time sometimes, so it's helpful to have someone going, can I pass pins, can I do this, can I do that, can I paint nails, you know,
Yeah.
it helps you.
Yeah, it does.
And it's again, I suppose on one level you say it's simple, but you know, it's to think again.
But so effective, you know,
Mm.
and these are the trainees that get hired and hired over and over again.
Yeah, it's the being
Proactive.
proactive. Yeah.
Now I pulled out this question, and the chapter "Don't Be That Person"
Yeah.
is great and something of a mantra for me. Can you elaborate?
Yeah, for sure. So, don't be that person is kind of like, the whole chapter is kind of like about etiquette, on-set etiquette, makeup bus etiquette, and personal etiquette, like personal, you know, nails and stuff. And it's just about, you don't want to be that person who either everyone's talking about, no one hires, the person that, I don't know, like, it's just important that you follow set etiquette and you understand how it works and comes together, because you don't want to be that person that people are talking about, or people are going, what are they doing?
Yeah.
You know, so you don't want to make yourself the centre of attention in a bad way. You want to be part of the team and helping out and this and that and supporting everyone. You're a cog in the wheel of people, so yeah, I think.
Was there anything that you can think of that you saw a trainee do that was like, oh my god?
Oh gosh, many things. One
But
was,
not Helen. I mean, just.
oh, in that case, no.
Always that person.
There was one who was, they were shooting outside, and she was watching the monitor, feet up on a like a zupper, like a makeup case,
Yeah.
feet up, smoking outside, and I thought, oh my god, like what are you doing? And also stuff like, I've worked with a trainee, you'd ask them to do stuff, and they would kind of go, I think, oh my god, yeah, just stuff like bits and bobs like that. I think.
Yeah.
Can you think of anything?
Well, I don't know. I can't really think of anything specific. I've probably blocked it out. But
The trauma.
I was thinking I think you've put in this chapter about dealing with the actors as well. haven't
Oh
you?
yeah.
About like, because I think that is kind of something. Like obviously, when you first start doing this job, you do meet a lot of famous people, obviously.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes people can be. I have witnessed this actually. People are like, oh God, it's them. And it's like, okay, but get over it. Like,
and asking for a selfie and a photo.
Yes.
No.
Yes. So I think, or being like, oh, you know, can you do this for my friend that really likes you, or I don't know, or just something like that. Because I mean, you do get, you know, obviously you've been doing it for a while, and you don't think of that.
But that is a line that one doesn't, or, you know, or maybe at the, I don't know if there's at the end of the film, it's all over. You know, does an actor say, okay, I'll sign some autographs or something? But during filming, surely
but I think that people
lose themselves. And take photos of the sets and stuff, and obviously, you know, you have NDAs and confidentiality, and they take a picture.
Oh no, actually, that is
posting
something
it
as well. Is posting stuff before the shows come out. I think I've had people that have done that before, because you can really get in trouble for that.
Don't be that person. That's the person who's going to get hired again.
Because you've signed something
that
says you're not meant to, and I think it can be quite easy to forget that. But yeah.
And also, like, the makeup bus etiquette covers stuff that I think a lot of people don't really think about. So sometimes I've been doing an eyeliner or something intricate, like a pro bondo, an intricate, some like painting and stuff, and someone's stomping up and down the bus or banging drawers, and you're thinking,
what are you trying to do? Put fake polish on.
And then they're like knocking the back of the like desk, and you're in someone's face for a start, and then it jogs your hand, and then it messes up the makeup, and you're like, it's so frustrating. So I think even little things like that, the book covers kind of makeup bus etiquette and how you should be on the bus, and even like stepping off and on the bus, because the bus shakes.
But again, little things like that, just being sort of subtle and stuff. One of my favourite stories was on it was a Guy Ritchie film, not sure which one, and I think it was Chrissy walking past, and then she's looked across the set, and I think it was one of the main guys from Warner Brothers. It was 3 chairs. He's sitting in one. And work experience, new grad sitting there next to her, and a spare seat, and she was going, oh my God, what's she doing there? And then she's thinking, okay, she knows him, or something, he's asked her for something, and now that, and then Guy Ritchie's turned up, he then sits down, and she's in between them, and he's sort of talking, and you can just see that he's gone like,
who's that?
Who are you? And she's obviously gone, I'm a makeup trainee.
Oh my God.
That
gives me the fear. And also, circling back to what you said about the actors, so I've been on jobs where I've been doing an actor's makeup, and then the trainee starts talking to them while I'm doing it, and I'm thinking, because then they're turning around to talk to them, and I'm thinking, because we're on such a strict time scale, so that is another thing that's like, no, don't do that. Like, wait, if you want to have a conversation with them, fine, but like, wait till after. And even I've been talking to an actor, and you spend months getting to know these people, so you do develop a close bond. And then I've been having private conversations with them, and the trainees sort of come over and joined in, and I thought, they're telling me something really personal.
Like in on conversations or like from the other side.
Who are we talking about?
I think it's because also it can, people do become friends. It's kind of like you're with people a lot, but I think sometimes it's like the professional boundary. You need to remember
knowing that line.
Sure.
Next question. What kit did you have as a trainee when you first set out? And has that kit changed much, or has it just got bigger?
I started at the very beginning with just like a little set bag, but I'm like a little magpie, so a lot of makeup artists will say, oh, do you want this, do you want that, as a trainee, and I'm always like, yeah, so it just got bigger so quickly, and I ended up, my husband will tell you, our house is just full of my kit now, where I'm just like, I'll have that. Even now, I'm still that magpie going, oh yeah, I'll have that, okay, why not? So
I'm really bad for that too.
It's got huge. I need to actually condense it because it's insane, but and you never use it all.
But that's the thing. You don't, So if you could streamline, the kit, or go back to that the kit bag, like you said, as a trainee, and just add a couple of bits to it,
Because also carrying something around is going to break your back. Also, that's you just got to remember that you're going to be carrying a lot of stuff. And it's a lot easier to like condense things.
And the best way to condense is kind of palettes. So the more palettes you can have, the better, I think.
I had loads of palettes when I started. So I still do.
Because that will save space. A concealer palette, blush palette, powder palette.
I've
got an eyebrow palette, that kind of stuff. will help to
I mean,
condense.
you can literally get palettes of everything because you can get that Anastasia over a palette
There's
as
a
well.
palette
so.
for that. It's
There's
been
a palette for that?
discontinued.
What?
Yeah, I've got it. It's great though. Sorry,
Yeah.
guys.
Palettes for everything. Amy's asking any advice on for a recent graduate to have the opportunity to work on a larger production with a trainee team. So advice on getting, I suppose, onto a bigger film. I suppose in essence, Amy's asking.
I mean,
Is there any?
No.
I think fantastic name, firstly.
Okay.
But I think no, there's not really a
No,
fast track
no.
way.
Does she mean as opposed to like smaller TV things or?
I suppose that Amy, are you asking Amy? Is it more? Yeah. So
Yeah.
you've done a few bits and pieces, and now you are thinking of how to get into a bigger film or a bigger production. So maybe it's possibly that. But I suppose it's a case of, as I would say, just start walking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From the student film.
Yeah,
you know.
literally student films. I mean, I think that everyone kind of ends up doing a sort of certain thing. I feel like
Yeah.
I've done a lot of comedy.
Mm.
I didn't set out I want to do comedy. That's not what when I trained, I thought that was what, but it's just kind of what happened. And I think it's just who you meet along the way as well. If you happen to meet someone that does huge films, then great, and make a good impression of them.
But I suppose, I mean, early on, sorry, Helen, but I mean, earlier on, you sort of think of, again, when we first started the academy, I was like, Chris, you could be big film, big, massive
Yeah.
blockbuster, and then you realise, then she'd do like a small Mike Leigh film,
Yes.
and you realise that actually the creativity
Yeah, it's
is on that small, small budget film where you've got to be creative, rather than when you look at a kind of a James Bondy Star Wars, there is no.
That's
And also in terms of a trainee, a lot of the time, I mean, obviously it's great if you can get onto films, but a lot of the time it is better for your skill set to start on smaller TV productions because they don't have the luxury of these huge teams, so you're getting more hands-on experience doing more stuff, whereas a lot of the time in film where you do have teams of trainees, a lot of your time you're just doing continuity or paperwork or lunch runs or tea and coffee, whereas in smaller TV productions you don't have that luxury, so you are, I mean, I've done main cast on TV productions as a trainee, so
but going back to what you were saying about the short films and stuff, I think when I was a trainee, I did a short film with Leo Lee, his son. And so you meet, even if you're going in and doing these small things, oftentimes there are really like big people that are actually working on them. Sometimes you can get an A-list actor that will be in one of these projects, so you literally never know who you're going to meet. So I think it's taking opportunities because taking risks, taking opportunities with that. I think
I've had great opportunities based off of the back of like weird or student films or like low budget things, and I thought, what am I doing? And then you meet someone and they're like, something for Netflix or there's makeup people on there, and you're like, oh gosh.
Literally.
I've had great opportunities off the back of it.
You mentioned actually earlier, and you got in or stumbled into comedy. Was there a genre? So Amy, you said I want to be a makeup artist. Was it I want to do action-packed films or comedy or serious, or was it just I just want to do this? I never even thought of genres.
Yeah, I don't think I ever thought of genres at the time. I only ever thought I need to be in film and TV. I need to find work, so I didn't mind. I'd take anything. But now I think I've ended up doing quite a lot of comedy. But recently I've tend to do a couple more like films and stuff. But I don't know. I don't mind the genre. I think comedy is quite enjoyable because things are happening on set that are funny. But action again is quite interesting because there's so many different things going on. But I don't mind really.
Also,
like period drama.
It is literally where the wind takes you sometimes, because I didn't ever really do much light entertainment until last year. I started doing it, and I had literally never done it before. But it's because I was working with an actor on a comedy doing his makeup, and then he took me on to his light entertainment shows that he was doing. So that's another example. Like, I never thought that I would be doing that. And then I just ended up doing it. And sometimes you can just take a shift without realising.
I think it's just do everything. You sample everything, and then in time you might go, actually, I don't really like that genre, or I don't really
Yeah.
want to do that, or
Yeah.
you know, because I think again it's to experience something because
Yeah.
you might like it, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the thing. I think even if you come in with like a deposition or whatever of what you think you might want to do, it might change. You might do an action and really like it, or horror and think, oh, that's might a bit
Yeah.
me. But yeah, it might change anyway.
Okay, so Megan's asking, should you email or DM message people for work experience or assisting work?
I think if you can get an email, that's the best way. But I mean, more and more I've started getting DMs about stuff, so I don't know really. But I know that some people text, and I think texting is a huge grey area because people find it an invasion if you're texting them. So I think if you can find an email, definitely do that. But if not, then yeah, I think DMs.
I personally don't mind DMs. I get quite a lot, and sometimes you won't see emails because they go into junk.
The same with DMs.
Same with
go into
DMs, that's so
requests.
true.
Yeah.
I've had that quite a lot actually, where they've gone into requests and I've been like, oh no, I haven't replied to
Yeah,
this
I've seen them
person.
on sale and thought, oops,
But
sorry.
I mean, I personally, obviously, like we're millennials, so we're very like
We're old.
on that. No, but we're very like social media. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that we don't mind. I don't really know whether older makeup designers might mind it.
Yeah.
But I think that's exactly. I think it's maybe you try trial and error as well.
Yeah.
But email and DM, as you say, texting ?
Ooh, yeah.
I wonder if anyone would ever. When was the last time someone received a letter?
Oh.
And mind you probably wouldn't get
I think
the
if I got a
address
letter,
of
I'd be
someone.
like, how did you get my address?
Maybe a
I
letter
stand
to
outside of
a letter to the production company because
Yeah.
otherwise it could be really quite creepy.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, do we quite stalker on
Oh
that?
my
I've been
God.
watching you for months.
Yeah. Sam.
Well, we're nearing the end now because I feel Sam behind us wants to wrap up.
Oh, bless him. Shout out to my husband Sam, filming and taking photos.
Now this is one we asked all the makeup designers, all our makeup artists when we did the Zoom sessions and stuff. So if a huge wave came tumbling down and washed away all your kit, but you managed to save one piece, what would that be? Do you know?
Yeah, I think my thing would be the Makeup Forever HD Skin Liquid Palette because it's got in it, like, you can use foundations, concealers, you've got a contour in there, there's blush, highlight. So for me that's what I'd say because I could do nearly a whole face with it apart from mascara.
Yes.
So I'd be on set with my little palette.
So mine is of a similar ilk, but it is a bit of a hot take, but I don't think so. It's a relatively recent
Are we
thing.
going to judge it?
Well, maybe, but hear me out because it's from a TikTok shop.
Oh god.
Oh
It's the
my
Made by-
God!
It is the Made by Mitchell colour cases. And honestly, so I was on a job this time last year and we got them, and because they're from TikTok, we're a bit like, oh, are these going to be any good? They actually were the best product on that whole show, and I use them all the time.
Really?
They literally, but you could do anything with them. You can eyeshadow, literally anything with those, and they don't move either. They're really, really well. They move if you want them to, like if you use oil cleanser, but I absolutely love them, and it's a relatively recent thing. So yeah, I think they're really good.
But I do like. I mean, again, I think experience where you can use, makeup brushes. It's a makeup brush. You can use it for anything. Do you know what I mean? Makeup is certain. You can do things. You could eyeshadows. You can use this. You could use that. Like not just having to use what it says on the tin. Be versatile. With
Am I allowed
it,
one more thing?
Yes.
Okay, so it'd be one of those combs that has the 4 prongs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're really good.
Oh, okay.
That is
They're
a good
really
one.
good.
That's pretty versatile.
Very versatile.
Well, it just leaves us to say thank you. I'm sure people want to know where to buy the book, how to get the book. What did they do?
So there's a website www.trainingtotrainee.co.uk, and there's also an Instagram, training to trainee. But yeah, and there's also an email address you can email any questions to if you want to, which is hello@trainingtotrainee.co.uk. And we'll build a nice trainee community together on Instagram, and so give it a follow.
No, yeah, I think definitely. Honestly, it's a brilliant book, and I know it
Thank
sounds
you.
like we're sort of selling the book, but we are. But it is. It really
It's really
is.
good.
Anyone that wants to, to become a trainee or have started the journey should read it. Amy, Helena, thank you so much
Thank you.
for coming in,
Thanks for having us.
we'll see you soon next time.
See you next
See you next
time.
time. Bye.